Chapter 1. Waiting in Shadows. The dream is always the same. A weary traveler draped in clothing that once matched the pristine white of her mount's plumage, now dulled to gray by time and wear. Her skin, kissed by the sun, stands in stark contrast to her wide eyes and hair, her pupils marking her as the Orion, a seraph. As she nears home, a city both familiar and foreign, a warren of jackalopes scatters at her approach. Her mount cries out, feathers ruffling, claws scraping the earth in anticipation of pursuit. She soothed the beast with a gentle touch, then reached into her pack for a ration. Dried meat was a poor substitute, but it would quell the craving for now. They pressed on beneath the forest canopy, where the gaps in the branches revealed a scattered array of stars. Starlight bathed the abandoned woods in silver, casting jagged shadows over crumbling ruins as they approached the barrier. It was no ordinary wall. Moonlight and starlight dimmed as they passed through it, as though the very air resisted their glow. The boundary was a warning, a silent command to turn back. She reached out, and a pressure not quite physical but no less real pressed against her senses. It carried the weight of unwelcome. Her mount shifted uneasily. With practiced ease, she swung down, unfastened the saddle, and let it drop to the ground with a muted thump. The beast stretched its wings, shaking out tension before folding them neatly again. She smiled at the familiar ritual, then pressed her forehead to its scaled brow in silent farewell. From her satchel, she withdrew a scabbard holding her dagger and pulled her cloak tight around her. With a steady breath, she stepped forward and crossed into the darkness. The shift stole the air from her lungs. Her body resisted the sudden transition, muscles tensing as she steadied herself. On the other side, she moved to the bridge's edge, her fingers brushing against the talismans woven into her attire. Though unassuming, each carried power. She found the bracelet at her wrist, then tore free a bead etched with delicate feathers. Light flickered as she curled her fingers around it. Stepping onto the guardrail, she let the magic spread through her. She exhaled softly and stepped off. Her cloak billowed, glowing faintly as feathers drifted in her wake. She descended in slow, weightless silence, a phantom of moonlight gliding toward the city below. When her feet touched the ground, the spell faded, its remnants dissolving into the night. Familiar streets stretched before her. Her gaze flitted over them, drinking in every detail. Longing and anger warred in her chest, each emotion clawing for dominance. She reached out, fingertips grazing a worn mural. At her touch, its colors surged back to life, a foolish use of power, but some rituals were worth the cost. She traced the wall a moment longer before pressing deeper into the darkness. Ahead there was a light, flickering, uneven. Her pulse quickened. She moved forward, her grip tightening around her dagger's hilt. Rounding the corner, she saw them, a mass of people, each crowned with flame. The fire hovered just above their heads, its glow revealing glimpses of bone beneath withered flesh. It reached towards their body, a hungry thing. Realization slithered into her mind, slow and insidious. Breath shallow, she crept closer, needing to confirm the awful truth. She reached out to the nearest bound figure, her fingers brushing his face. His vacant eyes stared at the heavens, empty and lost. The instant she touched him, a jolt surged through her hand. The flame above shrieked in agony. It twisted its shape, shifting, taking on the features of the man below and that of another. In turn, his lifeless eyes welled with tears that fell freely down his cheeks. They were connected, one and the same. She pulled her hand away. The screeching ceased. The tears stopped. The bastard had stolen their souls and trapped them here. Footsteps, fast, closing in. She spun just as a small, imp-like creature lunged at her. Claws outstretched, aiming for her head, she ducked, drove her elbow into its throat, and sent it reeling, gasping and convulsing. Another rush from behind. She twisted, sweeping her leg in a wide arc and striking it in the ribs. It tumbled away, hissing. The first imp scrambled to its fallen companion, bearing needle-like teeth. She had a clearer look at them. They stood no taller than toddlers, but they were quick and strong. Horns jutted from their heads, their ears tapered to sharp points, and their tails twitched in agitation. Demons. They gathered themselves for another attack, but she had no time for this. More would come. As the thought struck her, a deep rumble shook the ground. Stones tumbled from the ruined buildings around them. She barely had time to look up before something massive slammed into the street behind them. The forces shattered the road, sending debris flying. The new arrival was nothing like its smaller kin. It was wilder, less contained, a beast of pure rage. It roared at the sky, its eyes burning with madness. Its skull floated atop a bed of flame, its curved horns gleaming in the starlight. It loomed twice her size, massive and heavy, its stance animalistic. Then, without warning, it seized the two smaller demons, one in each hand, and slammed them together with crushing force. The twin screams merged into a single horrific wail. The sound scraped against her skull, forcing her to clap her hands over her ears. Their bodies twisted unnaturally, fibers of flesh and sinew unraveling and entwining, merging into something new. The demon stretched out its hands from the tangle of bone and muscle. A handle took shape. The remnants of the fused demons shuddered, spat out a single tongue of flame, and solidified. A hammer, a grotesque, nightmarish thing crowned in flame. The demon hunched forward, breathing in ragged snarls, drool dripping from its fanged maw. It hefted its new weapon over one's massive shoulder and fixed its gaze on her. She cursed under her breath. More were coming. She had to finish this quickly and vanish into the shadows. Pulling down the scarf wrapped around her neck, she revealed the enchanted gorget. Power pulsed through the leather as she fed it her magic, her belief. It drank greedily, shuddering to life. The demon charged, roaring, hammer raised high. She smiled, a slow, knowing smile. Then she exhaled. A belch of white fire erupted from her. The wave of flame engulfed the demon mid-stride. It screeched, thrashing as the fire consumed it. The souls within the hammer howled in agony. The flame stopped the advance, dropping it where it stood. She cast a glance at her fallen foe. Then, from the darkness came the sound of enraged cries. Closing in fast, she ran. The streets became a blur as she darted through the alleys, taking sharp corners, weaving through the ruins. A familiar thrill coursed through her. The chase, the adrenaline, she almost laughed. It reminded her of playing tag as a child. Except now, the stakes were much higher. The horde spilled into the streets behind her, searching. She melted into the shadows. The irony was not lost on her, a mage of light hiding in darkness. But it was a game worth playing. She reached the courtyard. Shadows stretched long across the vacant square, a perfect place for an ambush, a trap. She exhaled, steadying herself, ready to sprint across. But just as she tensed to move, slow, deliberate clapping echoed from the darkness, and then the darkness spoke. "Well done."